Hello, how are you? Wait, that I'm just. Yeah, this way is better. Okay, so today we are going to talk about something that it's extremely important, especially for young designers, really young designers, or for design students. And the problem that you have to solve, hi, it's overloading your designs. Okay, this is something very, very common. And ciao. And today I'm here to talk about this to you because I was recently in an internal presentation, of course at work, and we had some new young designers, okay, that were working with us, showing their proposals, and one of the reasons that their proposal were not chosen, were not picked up, even if they received, of course, some nice compliments, is that their work was extremely overloaded. So when you overload your designs, your project, it becomes a mess. And even if you have some really good ideas in what you are producing, everything else is just killing your ideas. So what happens? People prefer to go and choose something simpler from other colleagues so that you don't have to worry too much about it. You have a straight team you can choose and develop afterward. Now, how does it happen that we have the tendency to overload our designs when we are very young, when we are in school? Now that I have some years of experience, because this is something I did also, if I go and check my old sketches when I was in school or before entering school, I also find a lot of overloaded design projects or work. The thing is the experience, okay? It's the missing experience gives the feeling that when you are making a design project, when you are sketching and you are looking for ideas, you fall in love with the several ideas that you are producing. In some cases, those are really details, small details. Whether you are doing an exterior design or an interior design, or in some cases also product, there are so many little details that you like, okay, that you consider excellent ideas that you produce, and therefore you don't want to lose them. So the thing that you don't want to lose them, you put in your mind that when you will be doing the final renderings, you will not forget to integrate those type of details or design teams. So what happens? You make your sketches, okay, in different views, and then it's the moment you have to do your renderings, your illustrations. And when you do your illustrations, what happens? You start integrating, okay, all those details. And when you put too many details that are all very interesting all together, you are killing the lecture steps of a design, okay, the understanding of the design. You have to realize that our brain, okay, is looking at a project, okay, and has to it needs some seconds in understanding what it's looking at. Second thing, it's gonna be struck by something in particular. That thing, we call it the first main reading. So it's the step one reading. And that's your design message. It's your team, okay? So, I don't know, a very soft car, okay? Versus a very edgy car. So that's the design orientation. Then there is what we call also the second reading. The second reading, it's all sort of details of form language that are there to support the main design theme that you picked up. Okay, so in this second reading, you must have some design codes. If you are making, I don't know, main car that is very round, maybe you will have round lights because round goes well with rounds, and maybe in those lights you will have some details. Okay, now if you replicate the same shape over and over and over in every little details, then you start overloading your main design theme. So we pass by the pleasure of looking and admiring your work to the frustration of not really understanding 100% why what we are looking at, because it's a little bit confusionary. Okay, there is a little bit of confusion because it's too many things all together, and that's the thing that we call overloading design, overloading your designs. This is something that it's basically provoked by inexperience. Of course, we are not born with the experience. Okay, maybe we are born with the talent of sketching, but then one thing is to sketch, and another thing is to manage. To manage your main idea and to give value to your idea to make sure that it's chosen during a design context. Okay, so my cigar needs some fire. Okay, so what should we do in order to avoid this type of overloading, design overloaded? The first thing, as I said also many other times, when we go to school, we learn a certain type of discipline, okay? And we have to set up priorities, okay? I'm doing an interior. I will be working mainly at the beginning with my dashboard. If I want to make a design team that makes door panels, a dashboard all together, then I have to start working, the overall environment, and I have to decide what type of design elements, repartition of design I want to create. Because if I want to make a very clean design, then I will opt for some nice regular surfaces with some little accent just to give a little bit character, adding what we call character lines. And if we want to make a very edgy design, which is very squarish and stuff, then we have to structure, starting from the center line of your dashboard, how this dashboard should be organized. The driver part, the central part, and the passenger part. Versus a very clean and very clean design where usually we use some simple sections, and from left to right we basically have one only surface, and that means that you are relating all together all the elements of your interior. So it's very different from the other edgy approach or architectural approach. It's the same thing is also for the exterior design. If you want to do a design that is very fluid, okay, let's take, for example, the Pininfarina design samples of beautiful Ferraris or American cars that were done, or some beautiful Citroën that were done in the 60s, in the 70s. If you go and search for the pictures, you will see that the main design theme is the clean surface, the elegance, okay? So once we find the elegance, we have to save that elegance. We want to protect that elegance. And in order to do that, we start to keep this main shape. We read the surfaces and reflections, and then we have to add, in some spots, in some areas of this exterior, or of the interior, some details that will help and support the elegance of those shapes of this car. For example, if you look today at Land Rover, we can talk about a certain type of simple elegance with some technique look like details with different type of materials, but they are very thin, very small, very minimum, that are really details that support the car. For example, if we take the Velar, okay, which is a beautiful car, we have two main elements: proportion, okay, so this is part of your design team, and the main volume, okay, which is done to give an incredible energy on a very big car. So that's very successful there. But what do they do to make sure that the overall design, it does not go into become a little bit banal, okay, like a little bit sufficient, but more than that, they add details. So we can see on the side view a type of details that they put, those lines, the black lines, the materials, the little chrome or the aluminum element. Those are all elements that will help that design to stand out, to be reinforced, okay? And that's what we have to do. This is something that at the beginning it's very difficult to do, because when we are young, we are not exposed to other real designs, which are of course done by professionals with some years of experience, and of course those mistakes they will not make them. So what happens? The best thing we can do in order to understand if our design is overloaded or not, it's to ask someone else to look at your designs and say, what do you think? Tell me, is that too much? What is the main thing you like? What is the thing that really strikes you positively? And tell me what is the thing that for you it's disturbing. Then you will have one feedback. But at the same time, you can ask other people. And then if you match their feedbacks, you will discover that probably your main design theme stands out, but that all the other things that you have done on your model, on your sketch or your model, they all similar, and they have a negative critique. Then in that case, you have to make a decision. You know that you can keep the main theme because this one has been recognized by everybody. So there is no doubt about that. But one thing you know is that you have to clean up a little bit of all your details to make sure that you have always those two readings. The main reading, which is your design theme that comes out loud and clear. And the second reading, which is a support, all those things that we do to support, to complete the project. And once you do one time, two times, three times, then you will start getting the experience in keeping your energy and your will of putting everything inside, and say those details I will save for another project. Because of course you can recycle some of your ideas. That's normal. But the most important thing that you don't put all the time, every time, all the things all together. Okay? So this is the advice I would like to give it to you, because also in your portfolio, this is something that we see. And this is something that you have to really take care, because it shows also maturity. It shows that you are a student or a young designer that is very auto-critical, okay, very demanding with yourself. And this is positive, because it looks like that you have already gained a certain type of maturity to be, I would say, in control, okay, of your creativity, and make sure that when you will decide to put up on the wall your work versus the one of your colleagues, whether they are students or designers, you can play your chance. You will have a good chance to be considered in higher, to be taken, let's say, in a closer consideration. It is normal if you're very young in any design studio that your first presentations probably will not go super well. That's okay, no big deal. So don't think that your career is destroyed before starting, because it's not the case. You are in a very interesting learning process, and you have to take advantage of that learning process. And another thing that I suggest you to do, which to me is very important, as you say, I always say, be humble, especially in design, especially when you are young. To be humble in this case means that you have to listen. So don't talk too much, but listen. Listen the feedbacks of your boss, the feedbacks of the project manager, the feedback of your design director, because usually they tell you the truth. And even if someone will be too polite or political to use words that sometimes are confusing, understanding really what they are saying, because they are not very direct, okay, the way I am, for example. But you will always have someone within that team that will be direct with you and will tell you, this detail I would have, you can take it off. This one you don't need. That color is too strong. That surface is going up and down too much. Balance, balance, balance. Take care of your stuff. Put care, okay? Don't just put all your creativity and vomit on your design. Don't vomit your creativity. Manage your creativity. That's important. And I tell you that I made those mistakes when I was younger. So now, if you see that sketch up there, okay, I'll try to go a little bit closer. You can see, let's do this. Maybe this is better for you. You can see it's very simple, but it's very, very strong. Now, the sketch might not be the best sketches I've done in my life, but what is very interesting there, that there are no big details. It's really a volume and character lines on the shape. And that's enough. That's really enough to say whether that volume and stuff, it's better than a colleague's proposal. Okay? So this is, I hope I've been clear, all right? I'm still here in France. I'm not going back to China yet. As you know, we are still in a situation that's a little bit difficult. So I will stay here. I'm working from here, from the remote techno center, as I used to do before. So the good thing is that I can still work on my projects. Everything is fine, but everybody is working at distance. And we have to be very patient, very patient. We have to be very careful, okay? So this is an advice I give to all of you, and to myself also. I was supposed to go to Italy next week to visit my boss, but I think 99% that I will not go, because in Italy now there are some cases of contamination coming out, and so we must be very wise, okay, very wise, for us, for the community, for the family. So that's why I will stay here in France, my house, tranquil, working, okay, and I will have sometimes to make maybe a new sketch tutorial, okay, just a quickie one, okay. Thank you very much for listening to me today. And if you like this video, please share it. You can share it on LinkedIn, you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on Instagram. I know that there is also TikTok, but I'm not in there. But if some of you are on TikTok, then why not? So I know that TikTok, it's a lot easier to have a big audience. Maybe you will bring new people to this small channel, okay? Thank you very much. If you are interested, I put a very nice short video on my musical channel, which is only Luciano Bove. You can check on YouTube. It's a small composition, it's creativity, okay, with music that I've done with my electric guitar and some of the tools, electronic tools I bought. It's very fun, nice composition, rock style. Okay, thank you, bye-bye, and talk to you soon. Have a good weekend, fine end of weekend. Ciao.